welcome to In the Rising podcast. My name is Bettina Brown, and this is the platform where I love to talk about living a life that is in alignment with confidence, clarity, fulfillment, and walking away from shame and blame that does really nothing for you. It does. It pulls you down. Walking away from that. And I am going to share with you a wonderful conversation with Nathalie Plomondon Thomas, who is the author of 8 best-selling books, more best-selling books, and she is also the creator of the ThinkYourself Academy, and I am so excited and eager for you to hear what she has to share. Thank you, Nathalie, for your time today. I am really excited to have this conversation with you. I've done my research about you. You have done what a lot of women hope to do. Can you give I know you have a little video on your website, but give a little background to who you are.
So maybe I'll take you back about 12 years ago. I was starting to build my business on the side, of course, because I had this voice in my head that was telling me, what? Like you're never going to make it as an entrepreneur. You're not good enough. Like you have to keep your full-time job, So I was just building it on the side. I wanted to be a professional speaker. And I wanted to give conferences. I wanted to write books and I'm French Canadian. So I had this voice telling me, what? You want to be a speaker like in English? Like you don't even speak English. And my English was really bad, Bettina. Oh my gosh. I remember I was teaching yoga back then. And at the end of a class, we were all the participants were laying on their back and I was walking them through the meditation, right? So I wanted them to relax their body, relax their face, relax their jaw. And I wanted them to put their tongue on the roof of their mouth to relax their jaw more. And I said, put your thumb behind your tits. And then everybody started to laugh and I didn't know why. And anyway, my English was really bad. So I think the voice in my head was right. But it turns out that I kind of pushed through anyway. And I remember getting my first paid speaking engagement. I got a phone call from an organization who wanted me to train their sales force. And they asked for my rate. And Bettina, I didn't have a corporate rate. So I go, 250. So they say, okay, so for the 4 hours, there would be 1,000. Well, I meant 250 for the whole thing, right? So I go, yes, that's correct, $1,000. So I got the contract. And when I hung up the phone, I should have been excited, but I was petrified and I felt like a fraud. The truth is that voice in my head was telling me, you're not a real professional speaker. You don't deserve $1,000 paycheck for an afternoon. See that video that the video that I had provided to this organization. It's a video that I had created to my speaker reel, right? Like that you provide to get hired as a speaker. And we had 3 cameras to film this video. So one for the close up, one from the back to see the large audience, and then one for the wide angle from the front. But the problem was there was only 20 people in the room. So we kept asking people to move from one section to another so that we would put all the segments together and it would look like there was a large audience. But that video that I had submitted, really, I was just trying to look more than I really was. And my made up corporate rate, like none of it was real. I was just thinking that just me was not enough. That nobody would have ever hired me or paid for me, or that I would actually have to pay to speak on some stages. So that day in my office, having had my first successful paying contract just being signed, that's when I realized I need to shut down this voice inside my head. It's not helping. So I spent the last decade studying neuroscience and creating a system to reprogram your negative self-talk and change that inner voice in our head. And that's the system that I've created, the DNA system that reprograms your inner self-talk. That's a system that I use with my clients with one-on-one. That's the system that's at the base of all my online courses. And that's the system that I shared in my 8 international #1 best-selling books. So today I'm happy to share with you a few parts of this system. And it's all about the voice inside our head. Really, that's the number one. That's your number one friend that talking to you all the time.
Right. And I was reading that we have 60, or, depends what science you read, 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. Like it's just a lot. And most of them quantifiably is about 75% are negative. And so it is a huge thing. And a lot of them are negative about ourselves. So, we don't even notice it. We are programmed that way. And I did read that you did this neuroscience, you've studied neurolinguistic programming, you have come up with this DNA system. And I am so excited just to ask you the question, like where did you, when you were studying this, did you know that you had to create something to help other people and their negative self-talk?
Well, what happened is that I first I was looking for myself, right? I've read hundreds of books on the topic, and a lot of the books were telling me the first step that they were saying was to know what you want first, like, right, to make a list and write down your goals. And that's actually the first part of my DNA system too, the D for desire. So you need to kind of know what you want. So let's say you're doing a kitchen renovation. You're going to probably make a folder with samples of these cupboards, this countertop, this backsplash, this hardwood floor, paint chips, and you'll put all that in your folder. And that's kind of, you need to know what you want in your kitchen. So that's a very vital step. You need to do that. Like people are making lists or SMART goals or vision boards. You've probably heard about that, right? Mm-hmm. Now that is a great step, and it's only the first step. So if vision boards alone were enough, everybody would be living on a deserted island, sipping martinis, driving Mercedes Benz. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the end of it all. Like, what do you do then? Like, you look at your vision board and then what? That's just the first step. So you can't really, once you have your folder full of samples, it is not a kitchen. You cannot invite people in your folder. It's not a kitchen. It's just a folder full of samples, right? So a lot of books that I was reading were telling me how to create new habits, how to implement these new systems, and how to act in life, and how to do affirmations and talk positively and all this. And it is like they are telling me how to install the cupboards in my kitchen, and how to install the countertop, and how to install the hardwood floor. But really, that is step number 3. It's not step number 2, it's step number 3, because it's like you're taking the new cupboards and you put them over top of the existing cupboards, or the island and you put it over top of the existing island in the kitchen. It's not going to work. You need step 2. You need to gut out the old kitchen. You need to remove all the stuff you don't want anymore before you can go to step 3. So that's when I realized, hey, there's something missing here. Why is nobody talking about step 2? How do you get rid of the old kitchen? How do you get rid of your limiting belief, negative self-talk, anger, fear, hurt, sadness, guilt, trauma, all the bad stuff that we're continuing to carry in our life? Something happens to us like 5 years ago, and we're still kind of acting in our relationship as if it was happening again, because we carry some old stuff all the time. So nobody was able to teach me that. So I thought, that's what I'm going to focus on. And that's what I do. I really focus on the second step of my DNA system, the N for new you. So this is when you need to get rid of that negative self-talk. So that's what I really focus on. And then the third step is the A for actualize. So you actualize your desires. So whatever you put on your list, that's when you kind of install that new kitchen, because you've been able to gut out everything. So that's kind of the whole system. So to your question, Bettina, on how did you decide to do this, and did you want to help people doing that? Well, first I wanted to figure out how, and then once I was able to really create a system, because I like step 1, step 2, step 3, you do this, then you do this, then you do that, and then broke it down into 6 different layers. So in each part there's 2 different layers, because the brain has 6 different layers of a person's self, following the research of Dr. Robert Dilts. So what I'm doing is I use the reprogrammation of each of these brain layers, let's say, because when you want to make a change in your life, you can't just make a change in one level. You need to change every single level of yourself, and not just one layer. So that's, I don't know if that makes sense at all.
It does, because I love to read this. I'm a self-proclaimed geek in all neuro, and really looking at what can we do to change the way we are put together and improve upon that. Not that we're not beautiful now, that we are not enough now, but so many of us wish to get to another level of themselves, either with achievements, with the family, with relationships. How do you do that then? And so, that makes sense. And what I also loved is that you have this Think Academy, talking about think and this. And one thing that was really big was that you talked about your entire experience. You said a yoga instructor, you have been in the fitness, or you've had a huge amount of your life dedicated to that. The mind and the body are connected as well. It is hard to just put all effort into the mind and the body does nothing. What are your thoughts on that, though?
So that's when I realized, from the fitness industry, because yes, I've been a fitness instructor for 33 years. And when I started to research more, the mindset was because of a result of my work in the fitness industry. I was teaching fitness classes, personal training, and then my clients would go home and eat crap. So I needed to become a nutrition and wellness specialist too, to check out, to help them with their food. And then I realized that my clients were successful, not because I was giving them a better kale salad recipe or because I was showing them a better way to squat. It was because they were changing the way they were thinking. Mm-hmm. They were changing their mindset. And I was thinking, how is that possible? How did I have an impact on their mindset? And that's when I said, oh my gosh, I need to figure out a system. I need to research this. And that was kind of all at the beginning of my ThinkYourself Academy. So what happens is that we need to understand that there's many parts of the brain that I absolutely love, and I won't get into the prefrontal cortex today because we only have half an hour. But let's talk about the unconscious mind and the logical mind. Most people live their life at a logical level. Mm-hmm. Living at a logical level that's cool. The logical mind can multitask. Like we can multitask all the time, right? You can do 5 to 9 pieces of information at a time with your logical mind. So you can process an average of 5 to 9 pieces of information. So we multitask, like we can go grocery shopping at the same time that we're on a meeting on our phone, and we still can keep the kid from falling off the cart and notice the dude at the back of the store winking at the girl in blue in the seafood department. Like you can notice a whole bunch of things at the same time, right? But have you ever noticed, let's say you're driving to a new address and music is on, the windows are down, it's a beautiful day, and you start getting closer to that new address. So you slow down and you start looking at the numbers on the houses. Bettina, have you ever caught yourself having to lower the volume on the radio, mm-hmm. right? Isn't that weird that the volume of the radio is going to help you see better, right? When you think about it, it's because 5 to 9 pieces of information get overwhelmed very quickly. 5 to 9 is not that exciting. And that logical mind, we've learned, and you mentioned that today, that 70% of our thoughts are negative. So that logical mind, you're always living kind of behind. You're just trying to catch up all the time because it's not that powerful. So you're working really, really hard, and then you're trying to build your business, and then you're an entrepreneur. You get up at 5 a.m., you accept clients till 10 p.m. You still have to take your kids to school and sport in between your classes or in between your clients. And then you still live paycheck to paycheck because it's so much work and you're exhausted. And the more you work, the more exhausted you feel, and you feel like you're getting further and further away from your dream life. It is like you are wanting to go to Vancouver, but you're in an aircraft that is flying to Halifax, or you want to go to Los Angeles, but you're in an aircraft that's flying to New York City. It's never going to work if you stay in that aircraft. So a lot of people ask me, so Nathalie, how do I get off that aircraft? And I say, no, stay on the aircraft, talk to the pilot and say, hey, bud, do you mind turning around? Because that's where I'm going. Imagine how much faster you'll get there once the pilot is on board. Well, that pilot is your unconscious mind. Your unconscious mind can process 2.3 million pieces of information every second. I'm going to repeat that. Your unconscious mind can process an average of 2.3 million pieces of information at the time, compared to 5 to 9 for the logical mind. So the unconscious mind, that's where the power is. So your unconscious mind is like that personal assistant in your head that's writing down everything that you say or think and makes notes and make it happen. So the problem is people wake up in the morning, they look at themselves in the mirror and they go, oh, I'm so tired. Oh, I'm so stressed out. I think I'm gaining weight. So then your personal assistant writes it down. Tired, stressed out, gaining weight. Okay, I got this. Tired. What can I do for this? Oh, I know. I'm going to keep her awake all night. She's not going to be able to sleep. She's going to be really tired in the morning. Check. Stressed out. Oh, I'm going to make her delete a very important appointment in her calendar. Ooh, that's going to be stressful. Check. Gaining weight. Oh, that's an easy one. I can certainly find a chocolate bar or something deep fried for her to eat today. Check. So yeah, your personal assistant is always listening to everything that you say or think, and it makes it happen. And it's very powerful. So we have to tell our personal assistant what we want, not what we don't want. Because a lot of my clients come to me and they say, Nathalie, I don't want to be stressed anymore. I don't want to be impatient with my kids, and I don't want to be broke. So their personal assistant hears stress, impatient, broke, got this. So we have to say what we want, not what we don't want, right? Yes. So that's very, very important when we talk to ourselves, and reprogramming our self-talk is the main key.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've heard, I love that you talk in analogies, because so many of us think in analogies, because really a pilot in an aircraft makes sense, where some of these concepts can be overwhelming without those analogies. And one thing that really hit me is that our conscious mind, what we're talking about, where we are at with 9 to 5 and 5 to 9 items at a time, is like the size of a microwave, but our unconscious mind is the size of the Milky Way. Like it's just so big and vast that if we work in that area, look at all of the possibilities that are there compared to something that's in the size of a microwave. And I love that you really talk about these things, because I actually am a physical therapist by trade. And 15 years in, I'm like, the longer I work with people, the more I realize that a lot of their issues are presenting as physical, but they are not physical in origin. Not all of them. Clearly the car accident is, but some of these chronic conditions, they, and then they're the only thing they remember is the next doctor appointment. Like they are no longer people with a knee pain. They are knee pain who happen to be walking around as people, and getting out.
I love this.
The idea that it's not just about the knee pain, but where are you, and trying to grasp the person in there is definitely challenging. So that's where my tenure has gone in this direction, because I don't want to just chase the pain. It gets a paycheck, but it doesn't make an impact, for sure. I like how you describe that. You also talked about this, where your family, your upbringing was a little bit different. You said your parents were not like overprotective, not the lawnmower parents that we hear now. And your description was with the staircase, that they did not put a gate at that staircase, but told you, be cautious, be aware. And I like that because I'm one of the gated parents, but now in hindsight, if I did it over again, there are some lessons that we have to learn. We have to learn how to get back up, and learning how to get back up means getting out of our safety zone. And in that conscious mind, that is a safety zone.
Absolutely. My parents were actual like positive freaks, let's say. And every Sunday we had to sit down, my brother and I, in the living room and listen to motivational tapes from Zig Ziglar and Og Mandino and Jean-Marc Chaput. And we had to memorize that stuff. And we were rolling our eyes back then. But I have to say that right now it's kind of useful to have been brainwashed as a kid. So maybe I can give the audience today a two-step technique that I have to do a quick reprogram of the voice inside your head. So trying to get, like, let's say that the GPS on your aircraft has been going the wrong direction for a long time. With a real GPS, you could just push a button and change the address. It's kind of easy. When it comes to our mind, it's a little bit more complex. So that's what I do. I work with my clients at an unconscious level so that we can reprogram the address in the GPS. So it's a bit of a process. It's quite the undertaking trying to do that on your own. Now, what I can say though is that there is a two-step technique, very easy, that you can do right away to start the process yourself. So let's say you hear yourself say something in your head that you don't want to happen. So, or you just say, oh gosh, I'm so stressed out. Then you realize, oh my gosh, I just told my personal assistant I wanted to be stressed out. Wait, don't write that down on the clipboard, personal assistant. So first step is to repeat what you just heard in your head or what you just said in the past with I used to, right? So then you would say, I used to always be stressed out. Because the thing is, you've heard of affirmations before. If you just say, no, I am calm, your personal assistant is like, what are you talking about? Oh, she's not talking to me. Like, this is nonsense. Like when I work with the Think Yourself Thin program with clients that are highly overweight, it's not going to work for me to say, okay, stand in front of the mirror, put your hands on your hips and say, I am thin. Or when I work with the Think Yourself Wealthy program with clients that are in deep financial struggle, I can't just say, okay, repeat after me, I am rich. Affirmations don't work if you don't believe them. Mm-hmm. So if you say things like that, your personal assistant's going to be like, what do you mean we're rich? What do you mean we're thin? What do you mean we're calm? Like, have you seen our life? It's hectic. No, she's not talking about me at all. We must just be watching a vampire movie. Vampires don't exist. She's not talking to me. I'm not writing this down. So if you say, I used to be stressed out, your personal assistant's like, oh yeah, she's talking to me. I've got that right here on my list right now. Stressed out. But why are we talking about this in the past? Are we done with this? So this is when you follow up with step number 2. Immediately you say, I'm in the process of, or I am willing to learn. So that's a progressive statement. I'm willing to learn how to build a calmer life for myself, a balanced life for myself. I'm in the process of getting my stuff organized. So I used to be stressed out. Now I'm willing to learn how to live a balanced life. Or you hear yourself say, oh, I'm so bad with technology, right? Because, everybody's, especially in the past few years, right? When we had to go online, I'm so bad with technology. Wait, I used to think I was bad with technology. Now I'm willing to learn where it is that I have to click on Zoom, right? So step number 1, rephrase it in the past. Step number 2, you do a progressive statement. I'm willing to learn. I'm in the process of, and that will have a lot more impact than just doing a blunt, not blunt, but a unrealistic affirmation that is way out of whack compared to the reality.
Yes. I like that you put that, because I read in one of your testimonials as well, that she said after having worked with you in one session that she came further from years of self-talk and years of whatever issue it was, but it took one session. And not that everyone has that, but when you go to those deeper levels, not only does that make a transformation, but it happens lightning fast, that you have
Oh,
all
yeah.
this potential. And, we like to get things faster, right? We are at the microwave again, like, come on, it
Yeah.
took 2 minutes, we need to move. And when we go to those deeper levels, that's where the magic or the beauty is. When we talk about what you just did, that will transition the entire day, then the next day. And suddenly you are seeing beautiful changes and you're like, oh, it's only been a week.
Yeah, absolutely. See, if you have a broken foot, you go to the doctor, you leave the office and the doctor says, how's your foot? You say, well, thanks, doctor, you fixed my foot. When people leave my office or my virtual Zoom room and I ask, how's your foot? They say, what foot? I'm fine. Because they don't remember how they used to think. Because when you change a way of thinking, it's a feeling. So when you feel great, you don't remember that you used to feel sorry for yourself. Like you don't, and you remember that you didn't feel that way before, but it's not concrete. That's why I take a lot of notes to prove my clients that they didn't used to feel this way before.
Like I remember.
Yes. Not that I ever really bring anything back, because we're just moving forward. I don't have a couch in a Kleenex box where people tell their problems or anything. I don't believe that we should talk about things, because when we say something that happened in the past, somehow our brain doesn't know it's not happening again. So it resends 1,400 chemicals through our bloodstream to pollute us with powerful negative emotion or cortisol or a lot of things like that. So we move forward in my office. We don't talk about stuff. I'm not that style of practitioner anyway. Yeah.
Wow. Where you have done incredible things, right? Since from that first time, the $250 moment, you're like, wow, and I like to ask this question for almost all of my people that have a conversation with, where do you see yourself rising up to? Like, what is your future? What is your vision that you are creating still?
So this is very interesting. So my my promise statement, I work with entrepreneurs who want to find confidence and focus so that they can make money living from their passion. And I have been criticized for that promise statement, because people say, what, your goal is for people to make money? Like, how shallow, right? And I do a lot of work with, and it's very timely right now. I work with orphanage in Haiti, and I don't have to tell you that Haiti is one of the poorest countries in the world, and right now they are very much suffering. I'm not sure if this is going to be airing soon, because we're just recording it today, but I have learned a lot of lessons from the kids that I sponsor in Haiti and that I visit. And I believe that we can do great stuff with money. I have seen it for myself. I have seen children being abandoned by their parents because they send them to the orphanage, because at least there they would have a meal. And now we see women handing their child up over the fence to the army so that their kids won't be tortured or killed in Afghanistan. I believe that there's lots of great stuff that we can do with money. And when you give money to good people, they do great stuff with it. So my vision is to teach people confidence so that they can be their best. Because when you are your best, you can make such a big difference. You are not the same person when you are at your best. And there's a lot of big problems in the world that would not be there if people had confidence. Because lack of self-confidence causes a lot of chaos, a lot of things that would not happen. So as part of the academy, I also have a coaching certification. So I teach people to do what I do. So this is my long-term vision, that it doesn't end with me, that all my coaches that are part of the ThinkYourself Academy team of coaches that also do what I do, that will have a more of a domino effect on the confidence in the world, and on teaching people that they can live from their passion. And imagine that everybody was doing what they love and everybody was confident. Like it's a huge impact. So I guess that I could go on for much longer, but I'm looking at the clock here.
No, I like your promise statement. And on that, money is a tool, and money is not the evil. It's a beautiful tool to help people, like to have the money to buy podcast equipment. We have this wonderful conversation that can reach many more people. Money itself is not the problem. Money can change things. And when you're not in a place where you're barely surviving, you have an opportunity to thrive in a different way. And so I think when we are in a place where we can help, be, whether it is figuratively or literally being on a wall, helping lift people up, that is a place of honor. And that takes tools. And one of those tools is money. So you're sprinkling confidence, clarity, and just a brighter future for so many people. So I think your statement is fantastic. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Should we give your audience a little present? So I do. Oh, yes. You were.
I was like, yes, go ahead and give your little present.
So I do have a confidence guide that I suspect that may help. So if you like that 2-step technique, this is one of the 15 keys to confidence. So if you go to thinkyourself.com/confidence guide, that can give you a few of the questions that you can ask yourself about the 6 different layers of the brain that I was referring to, so that you can ask yourself, how can you make some small little changes in each of these layers so that you can unlock your full potential. So thinkyourself.com/confidence guide.
So I definitely misspoke. It is not a little gift. I did download her gift, and just again, there are nuggets of information that you can process. And for me in this conversation with Nathalie, just the idea of staying on the airplane and telling the pilot to turn where I want to go, that my momentum does not have to physically come from me. I just have to tell them where to go. So I really enjoyed this podcast. I hope you did as well. And you know what? If you fail that way, I would love for you to share this podcast, because it really needs to be in the hands and the ears of those that it can make an impact. Also, I encourage you to leave me a 5-star review if you feel this is beneficial, because again, it helps promote positivity out into the world. And until next time, let's keep building one another up.